What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So, your boy, Canelo Alvarez, the cheek buster, has called out some certain dons in certain divisions right now. One of the key generals was indeed Errol Gyno Spence, with the Nipplies. Errol Nipplies Spence, man. Listen. Errol Nipple ass. Nipple have an ass. Spence. Now, in fact, before we go on, let me tell you the other names. There was Charlo was thrown in there, and Benavides, Bomavides. Bomavides ain't fought nobody, so let's not even talk about him. And the only reason Errol Spence is relevant to an extent is I have to give Errol Spence credit. Yes, he's scary of Terence Crawford, but at least he's ticking some names off. Unlike Gervonta Tank Davis, for example. Yeah, Errol ain't running up loads of weights and he ain't doing all the extra stuff, but he is slowly but surely ticking some names off. Kell Brook, for example, etc., etc. Yeah, I respect that. More than running up weights, I respect staying in the division and slowly grinding on. Now, could he be doing more? Can it be said that Errol Spence is doing the most? Absolutely not. He's doing an average amount, I'd say. Or slightly below average, because he should have fought, well, he should be fighting Terence Crawford ASAP. That said, Spence is doing his thing more than Benavides is. I'm not even sure. What is Benavides? Is it 168? What's he doing there? Don't no one know. I haven't heard of Benavides having no fights at 168, and we have the proof for that because Billy Ho Saunders jumped up and got a belt out of nowhere. So Benavides weren't putting the work in because that belt should have been Benavides's. Instead, it was an open belt, I believe, for WBO. Who else did we have at 168? We obviously have Alvarez there, and I don't even know who, that's the point. Don't no one know. Because Benavides ain't putting no work in. I think you got Badu Jack, but he's at 175 now. And the point is, ain't no one checking for Benavides. Charlo, bigger than Spence, but another one. What's he doing? Don't no one know. Don't no one know what he's doing at 160. Because there ain't no undisputeds at 160, is there? There ain't no undisputeds at 160. I'm trying to think who. Oh yeah, Poo Poo Andrade. That's a point. Poo Poo Andrade. He looking for smoke. Perfect example. Poo Poo Andrade wants problems. Don't no one want to fight him. In fact, the Charlos themselves say, "Oh, well, he needs to make a name and all the other stuff. He needs to make a name, and so we can mark all them guys off." Charlos don't want to fight no one in their own division. Benavides don't no one know. At least Errol Spence. Now Errol Spence is what, 147. He's big for the weight for sure. He says himself he wants to move up. Alvarez at 168 though. That's 21 pounds. Is Alvarez going to come down to 160? I can't imagine him coming down for anyone, but who knows? Would Spence jump up 21 pounds? It'd be a feat to do. To be fair, he's tall enough to do it. I believe he's actually taller than Alvarez is. But in one fight, for example, we saw Kell Brook. Kell Brook went from 147 to 160 to fight Triple G. That was 13 pounds. And Kell Brook was similar to Errol Spence in as much as they were both big for the weight. Kell Brook went up to 160. And we all saw what happened there. His career was essentially ended. He jumped up 13 pounds and his career was over. So looking at Spence, even if we agree to disagree that Spence, me personally, I thought Kell Brook was winning that fight for 7 rounds. I thought he was pretty much dominating it. So for me to sit here and I think Kell Brook and Errol Spence are a similar level to an extent. I know Errol Spence stopped him, but I think they're all in the mix together more or less. I mean, it's not night and day is my point. I wouldn't look at Errol Spence and say, wow, he is 10 times better than Kell Brook kind of thing. And the reason that's relevant is to say that if Kell Brook, who isn't massively worse than Errol Spence, if Kell Brook went up to 160 and got washed, I mean, yeah, we've all seen the fight, Kell Brook versus Triple G. Yeah, you can say, well, he got a few shots off, but even Triple G said after the fight, yeah, he got a few shots off, but he's not 160. And the way that Triple G said it, I don't believe he was just saying it to try and punk Kell Brook. I think he was saying it because he was genuinely, in a way, concerned. As if to say, Kel, don't try and stay at 160, please, because you ain't got the ding. You ain't got the ding at 160. Now, I give you all that history to get to the point that, listen, Kell Brook, who isn't miles different to Errol Spence, only went up 13 pounds. And Kell Brook was like, nah, that's not for him. It only lasted 4 rounds. It really was night and day. And this was Kell Brook in his prime, that before he got stopped. And also, it was Kell Brook going up straight up. He didn't go to 154 first. Now, Errol Spence jumping from 147 would be doing the same thing. 147 to 168 is too much. Way too much. And even 147 to 160, the Kell Brook example, there's too much of a stretch. Now, the order of who Alvarez wants to fight, we don't know. Maybe he means, yeah, I'll take Benavidez, and whilst I'm fighting Benavidez and whilst I'm fighting Charlo, Spence can kind of move up. Who knows? Although, yes, I'd love to see Alvarez, but yeah, I'd love to see, to be fair, I would love to see Spence fight Alvarez now, because Spence fought Mikey Garcia. Similar kind of thing, but then again, even that, look at how one-sided Spence versus Garcia was. That was only, what, 12 pounds? Only 12 pounds. So really, in my mind, it'd have to be, Alvarez would have to come down to 160. Does he want to cut the weight? Because the way that Alvarez is beating people up at 168, I don't see why he would. Why would you want to cut weight for? It's not like, well, he got run out of town, or he's struggling, or he's average at 168, and it makes sense to come back down. He's dominating at 168. He making 168 dons look silly. Truth be known, he's running through them. He got the whole 168 division scary. In fact, the 168 division, what even is it? I can't even tell you. Not even a bit. Legit, I ain't got a clue who's at 168 these days. And that just says it all. Don't no one want to be at 168 with Alvarez there. But I guess it all comes down to what Alvarez wants to do. If Alvarez has Errol Spence in his mind, if Alvarez is rock hard, and let's not forget as well, Alvarez's team is the one who's mentioned this. It's not like Errol Spence is calling for it and one of them ones. Canelo Alvarez's team are calling this, which tells me they must have fought for it at some level. Although, we know that Alvarez learnt from the best in terms of manipulation. He learnt from Mayweather. Meaning, Mayweather played the game of, you want to fight me, you come down. Or you come to where I'm at. I'm the A-side, I don't care how big or small you are, you come into me. So, on that basis, maybe they're saying, yeah, we'll fight Spence. If Spence wants to jump up 21 pounds from 147 to 168, so be it. But for me, you man know I'm a boxing fan, and when I say I'm a boxing fan, yes, I'd love nothing more than Alvarez to cut through a 140, to cut through Spence, but in terms of the sport's sake and competitiveness sake, it's obviously less intriguing at 168. We know Alvarez is stopping dons at 168. I don't care how strong or how hard-assed Errol Spence thinks he is, bottom line, Errol Spence couldn't stop, couldn't put down a 135 pounder. So it's not like his power's nah. In fact, Spence don't really have many KOs really. Spence and icing 135 pounders. 168, even 160. That's my point. Even Alvarez at 160 is a massive task, as Kell Brook proved against Triple G. I think Alvarez is more certified than Triple G as well, to be fair. Now, Alvarez now is better than Triple G then, in my opinion. More dynamic. So even at 160, it's a big ask. It's not really competitive, in my opinion. I'd watch it, of course. But there we are. Let's see. Will Spence do it? Spence don't want to fight Crawford. Although, maybe Spence would look at this fight as if to say, it's a massive cash-out fight. The Crawford fight isn't a massive cash-out fight. And also, Spence would have the built-in loser argument. Where, well, I lost, but I was going up loads of weights. That excuse built in. Whereas against Crawford, Crawford's a smaller man, in terms of Crawford came from 135, so he doesn't have no excuse to lose. And it's not massive money. So there's all the factors. I want to watch it. I want to watch it for argument's sake. For me, it'd be about, can Alvarez stop Spence? It wouldn't be a case of, let's see what That's what I'd want to watch it for. Spence versus Alvarez is about Alvarez stopping Spence. There should be no other conversation. That fight shouldn't go 12 rounds. Bottom line. Especially if it's at 168. There's no way. He should cut through Spence. And what I like about that fight is the fact they're both quite bullish. They both come forward. They both think they can, well, they both like to bang. Let's see how much Spence wants to bang when he's in there with someone his own size. Yeah?